The rain came down in sheets so thick it felt like the sky was trying to scrub the whole town off the map. The riverside lantern sat on the last bend of the river before the water turned black and mean, its tin roof popping and rattling like a machine gun that had forgotten how to stop. Inside, the air was thick with cigarette ghosts and the sour breath of old whiskey. Only 3 bulbs still worked. One over the pool table nobody used anymore, one behind the bar that made the bottles glow like poisoned jewels, and one swinging naked above the stool where Elias Crow had been planted for the last 4 hours. Elias Crow looked like a man who'd been carved out of driftwood and left to season in bad weather. His coat was older than most of the patrons' marriages, patched with duct tape and regret. Rainwater dripped from the brim of his hat in a steady rhythm, patient rhythm, pooling on the scarred oak counter. He hadn't spoken since sundown except to croak, another, every time the level in his glass dropped low enough to see the bottom. The bartender, a thin man named Leo with a missing front tooth and a tattoo of a mermaid who'd lost most of her face scratched off, kept pouring without comment. Some men you just serve until they fall over or walk out. Elias always walked out. The door banged open hard enough to rattle every bottle on the shelf. Wind and rain swept in first, then the woman. She stood framed in the doorway for a heartbeat, water cascading off a red oilskin slicker the color of fresh blood. Tall, broad through the shoulders, boots caked with river mud. A scar ran from the corner of her mouth to her ear, pale against skin tanned the shade of walnut. When she shook the rain from her short-cropped black hair, droplets flew like shrapnel. Every man in the place, all 6 of them, forgot whatever lie they'd been nursing and stared. Even the jukebox seemed to cough and miss a beat. She didn't spare them a glance. Eyes the color of gunmetal found Elias instantly and locked on. She crossed the room in 6 long strides, boots thudding, and the canvas satchel slung across her chest swung heavy against her hip. Whatever was inside clinked like iron giving a warning. She dropped onto the stool beside him hard enough to make the wood groan. "You're late, Mara," Elias said. His voice sounded like a rusted hinge, but it carried. "Traffic," she answered. The word came out dry, amused, like the storm outside was a minor inconvenience. She unzipped the slicker and let it hang open, revealing a faded black tank top clinging to her skin and the butt of a sawed-off shotgun riding in a shoulder rig. Leo's eyebrows tried to climb into his hairline, but he stayed wisely silent. Mara set the satchel on the counter between them with deliberate care. The clunk it made was deeper than metal on wood had any right to be, a sound that seemed to vibrate in the sternum. "Got it." Elias finally turned his head. The light caught the pale ice of his eyes and the 3-day stubble that was more gray than black now. "You sure it's the real one this time?" In answer, Mara tugged the zipper down 4 teeth. "Just enough." Inside, nestled in oil-stained velvet, lay a disc of ancient brass the size of a saucer. Even in the bar's sickly light the etchings glowed faintly, Celtic knots, runes that hurt to look at directly, and in the center a needle that didn't point north but quivered like a compass drunk on blood. The compass of St. Brendan, the one that showed you the exact place you were fated to die if you were stupid enough to follow it. Elias stared for a long moment. A muscle jumped in his jaw. "It's warm," Mara said quietly. She didn't need to put her hand in, the heat radiated through the canvas like a fever. Started heating up outside Vicksburg. By Baton Rouge it was too hot to hold. Been getting hotter every mile since. Leo, pretending to polish a glass on the far end of the bar, leaned in just enough to hear. His face had gone the color of old cheese left out in the sun. Elias reached into his coat and drew out a crumpled pack of Lucky Strikes with 2 cigarettes left. He offered one to Mara. She took it, stuck it behind her ear for later. He lit his own with a Zippo that had lost most of its chrome, inhaled until the tip glowed like a tiny furious sun, then let the smoke out through his nose in 2 slow streams. "How long?" he asked. "Till it points steady and we're standing on the spot." Mara shrugged. "Day, maybe 2. After that, the stories say it burns right through whatever's carrying it and keeps going till it finds the heart it's looking for." Elias gave a sound that might have been a laugh if it had any joy in it. He drained the last finger of whiskey, set the glass down upside down, bartender's signal for "I'm done, don't pour again," and peeled off a stack of wet 20s thick enough to choke a horse. They landed on the counter with a sodden slap. Leo found his voice. "Y'all need anything else? Coffee, shotgun shells, priest?" Mara zipped the satchel closed. The glow vanished, but the heat didn't. "Just the check," she said, flashing a smile that showed too many teeth. Elias stood. His knees popped like distant gunfire. He settled the hat lower and looked at Mara. "South." South, she confirmed. Down where the river forgets its own name. Thunder crashed directly overhead, close enough to rattle teeth. The lights flickered. For a second the compass's glow leaked through the seams of the satchel again, painting their faces in bruised gold. They walked to the door without another word. Elias held it open against the wind while Mara stepped out into the storm. Rain swallowed them instantly, red slicker and black coat disappearing into the way ghosts do when someone turns on the light. Leo stood there a long time, staring at the empty doorway and the money bleeding ink onto his counter. Finally he picked up Elias's glass, turned it right side up, and poured himself a double. "Third damn time this month," he muttered, and drank it in one throw. Outside, the storm kept screaming, and somewhere south the river ran black and white and patient, waiting for whatever the compass had chosen to deliver.